Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Homedale Board of Education Reorganization Meeting. We can all stand for the salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm happy to report the results of our annual school election. For 3-year terms, we have Ms. Sarika Kalor, Mr. Raymond Kim, and Ms. Kimberly Tsula. Congratulations. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kyle Trent to preside over the oath of office.
Sarika will do you first.
So I just want to welcome Assemblywoman Flynn this evening. Thank you, Assemblywoman Flynn, for coming. And also Ms. Mayor Foster's in attendance as well. Welcome.
possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of Board of Education, and that I'm not disqualified as a voter pursuant to NJSA 19-4-1, nor disqualified for conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJSA 18A:12-1, that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
The Explorer program for the fire department is can't be a Christmas. No. Right hand up, got it. There you go. I, Kimberly Patillo, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey and the Constitution of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance, and that I will bear true faith to the governments established in the United States and this state, the governments established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God, so help me God. I state your name. I, Kimberly Patillo, do solemnly swear that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law, for the office of member of the Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to NJSA 19-4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJS 18A-12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, kids. Good job.
We'll proceed with the roll call. Mr. Buckley,
Here.
Dr. Kalor.
Here.
Mr. Damari,
Here.
Mr. Kim,
Here.
Mr. Lebechi,
Here.
Mrs. Lopresti,
Here.
Mr. Mann,
Here.
Mr. Reddy,
Here.
and Mrs. Tasillo.
Here.
The opening statement. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by posting written notice promptly on the bulletin board in the office of the Board of Education, 65 McCampbell Road, Holmdel, New Jersey, the district's website, and sent to the 4 district schools. The mailing and/or hand delivery of said notice to the designated newspapers, Asbury Park Press, Star Ledger, the PLG, PSG, PSA, PTSO, SAB presidents, and student representatives to the board, and filing with the clerk of Holmdel Township Police Headquarters and Public Library. The Open Public Meetings Act. Meetings of the board are open to the public, and all members of the community should feel free to participate. There are 2 opportunities for the public to speak. The first is at the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second is at the end of the meeting for other items. Any individual desiring to speak shall give his name or her name, address, and the group, if any, that is represented. The presentation shall be as brief as possible, but no more than 3 minutes per individual. There are certain matters that may be brought before the board that cannot be immediately addressed in public. Such matters may be referred by the president to a board committee and/or to the superintendent for consideration and/or resolution. The board vests in its president or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual if he or she deems it in the best interest of those present to do so. If there are any questions or comments for the public on agenda items, we can take them now. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the nomination and election of the president. Does anybody wish to make a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Chris Damari for the role of board president.
Second.
I nominate Pete Reddy.
I'm sorry, who? That was Kim?
Yes.
I second.
Any other?
No, but I would like to say something, so I don't know if that's, when the appropriate time is, but
If there's no other nominations, you can open it for discussion.
okay. I just wrote a couple of things. So it was my pleasure tonight to nominate Pete Reddy for the position of president for the Board of Ed. Being the most senior member on the board with an unmatched 10 years experience and previously carrying roles of VP and president, Pete brings forth a wealth of experience, institutional knowledge, and leadership to be a great fit to lead the board in the upcoming year. His deep commitment to our students, staff, and community, along with excellent working relationships throughout all levels of the district, will serve us well going forward into the challenges ahead, including teacher negotiations that are upon us and the ongoing budgetary concerns. Pete, you have demonstrated a deep understanding of the issues in our district and a deep knowledge of the educational landscape and operational needs of the district. You work collaboratively with staff, administration, and your thoughtful approach to problem solving ensures that everyone has a voice and is respected. You have developed long-term relationships with staff, community alike, and have earned a position of trust. Your leadership will serve to steer the board with integrity and respect. I'm fully confident that with Pete at the helm, the board will continue to move forward efficiently, fostering collaboration and promoting the best interests of our students and educational environment. In light of the upcoming teacher negotiations and the current budget considerations, I strongly believe Pete's experience in both of these areas, combined with his steady leadership, will play a vital role in addressing these challenges in a respectful way while being fiscally responsible. So to that end, I strongly endorse Pete Reddy for board president.
Any other comments?
Well, I do think that Pete has a depth of experience and he has a very moderate stand and works with all people involved with any problem. That's why I think I endorse him as a president.
That all nominations shall be closed And I will begin a roll call vote for the election of the board president. Mr. Buckley,
So we just vote for
Pick your vote.
Chris.
Dr. Kalor,
Pete.
Mr. Damari,
Chris.
gotta run it. Mr. Kim,
Peter Ready.
Mr. Lebechi,
Chris.
Mrs. LaPresti,
Chris Damari.
Mr. Mann,
Board Member Damari.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Board Member Damari.
Mr. Reddy
Pete. Me.
and Mrs. DeSillo.
Pete Ready.
So we have 5 votes for Mr. Damari and 4 votes for Mr. Reddy. So,
Thank you. As a proud Homedale Hornet since 1983 and graduated with the class, Homedale High School class in 1996, I'm deeply honored to serve as the president of the Homedale Township Board of Education for the 2025 year. I want to extend my gratitude to my colleagues on the board for putting their trust in me in this leadership role. I appreciate the nomination, Mr. Buckley. We go a long way in the Homedale schools as kids. It's great to be here with you. I look forward to working and collaborating with all of the board members and listening to everybody's voice to ensure that we have another successful and productive year. I'd like to thank my family, Sarah, Liv, Leo, my mother, and I'd like to thank all the families of all of our board members for their sacrifice and their support for us to be here for the students and our community. So thank you. Now let's move on to the VP nomination. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Miss Allison LaPresti.
Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Kim Tassilo for vice president.
I'll second Allison LaPresti.
I'll second Kim Tassilo.
Any other nominations? Nominations closed. Discussion? Anybody have anything to say?
Yeah, I'll say something. So very simply, Kim is next in line. Kim has been 3 years in leadership. Kim has 3 times more experience. Sitting here a long time, I know what the right decisions are. I've seen it. I've seen bad decisions. I've seen good decisions. Kim is the right decision right now. We have negotiations coming up. She's the only one on the board besides Sarika that's been involved in a teacher negotiation or a administrator negotiation. So it's important to have that. And she's just next. I mean, she's the only one of us 9 that work actively and directly with kids and with students and with schools. I don't. I do it a few times a month. I'm sort of like a non-paid volunteer that has learned a lot over a decade. And I know when we've had other people that have worked within the schools, it's a valuable resource that I can't firsthand say and deal with. So I learned from you. I learned from other people that are in the community that teach. So that's pretty much why. But I think you're next. You'd be good knowing that you were, I think, the highest vote getter this past November. I think it would be a very good fit knowing that we have both sides of the board represented and that, we can help Scott as much as he can. And this is going to be the trickiest year in 10 years. You'll see.
Pete, I'm just curious. Is there in like the bylaws of the board, is there like a next in line clause?
There is not.
Okay.
But I'm a big believer in equity. This is a round table. Everyone deserves a shot. A few years ago, we had Linda Zhang. She was on the board for 1 year. She shouldn't have sat as vice president. She was here for a year. Kim's been here for 3 years. It's 3 times more experience. Take it as it is.
Yep. Any other discussion?
I have something to say too.
Thanks, Pete.
Something brief and over the last 3 years, I've seen the depth of understanding that Kim has of how a school system works, obviously being in the system herself, and the way she understands policies and a quick grasp of any item or the agenda. I've been impressed thoroughly with that. I think that that's why she's the right candidate for the BP, especially in this year when the negotiations are going to come up. I know that that's been raised in the past. That's been raised as a reason that she might not be the right person because she can't. There could be conflict, but I think on the other hand, her input will be the most valuable in this year. Therefore, I highly recommend her as a VP.
Thank you, Dr. Kalor. Any other discussion? I'm going to say some words. I have great respect for Kim. We've been classmates. We were classmates back at Village throughout our Homedale childhood and educational experience. I've got a great deal of respect for you, Kim, which I've told you time and time again as a board member. You bring a lot of value to the table. A lot of what Pete and Dr. Kalor mentioned, I agree with, and I feel that that value can be leveraged and put into play as a board member. I do, however, feel that there's a major conflict of interest, being that we are heading into a teacher contract year. And because of your professional life, I see there is a conflict, and I don't think it's in the best interests of the community for you at this time to be in a leadership role. There's a lot that you have to recuse yourself from, that you can't communicate with. I don't think it's fair for somebody in the present role to have a co-pilot that you can't discuss the most critical thing that we're going to be dealing with as a district. And we can get to that later, but we do have a teacher's contract with our local teachers union, the HTA, that's going to be expiring in June. And we need to get this right for our district and for our teachers. And it's going to be a huge challenge. I also feel that I just feel that conflict is too big and we wouldn't be doing the right thing for the community. I do want to say that I want to shift my focus to board member Lepresti, who was also the top vote getter last year in last year's election. I've been here for 2 years now, and I've been very active, and I'm proud of that. I really like to put a lot of energy into the town, the students, and I've seen board member Lepresti come on board and express that same level of action. She wants to make an impact. She's proven that in the last year. She spent countless hours outside of these meetings meeting with a 20-year business administrator, Mr. Patrizzo, who's no longer with us, and Ms. Iwasaki, to better understand our financials and really dig in. That's something I haven't seen out of any other board members. I also have not heard of any other board members putting in this type of energy and really trying to get to the root cause that we all campaign on. We all campaign on sustaining and managing this very challenging budget. So I applaud her for taking a deep dive. We do have 15 years of historical data that we thank our administrators for compiling, that we've been building graphs and charts that we will utilize to best educate the Homedale Township community on what our budget's all about so they can better understand that. And that's the reason why I support board member Lepresti for the vice president role. I wanted to share those comments. Is there any other discussion?
I just would like to say something.
Sure.
I have nothing but lovely things to say about Allison, and I've said that to you. And and I'm sure that you have delved in and have a better understanding as far as budget and finance, because that is your background. And my background is in education. And I think that when when it's said that there's a lot I can't participate in, there is one thing I can't participate in, and that's negotiations. And I can still vote on the contract. So it's one thing, not a lot of things. It's one thing, number one. But number two, I've also had a conversation with you where I felt that you and I working together side by side would be a good thing, because you can focus, you can put your energy on the negotiations piece of it. And I could put my focus on curriculum, of which you said, well, curriculum's great. Everything has to be about budget and negotiations. Budget's due in March. Once it's due, you have the whole, we're talking calendar year from today. Budget's done in March. We have then a whole nother, the whole rest of the year. It's only the short, front piece of it. We're here to educate. That is our main purpose, to be here. And so I just felt that we would be a good team, that you could, put your focus in one spot, and I could take and focus on curriculum, of which, we are doing better and we are doing great. It's not that there are still a lot of things that we need to focus on. And that's, that's where I thought that we could have, could be a good team. So that's all. But again, I have nothing but lovely things to say about Allison. So I just think that the focus, I think it can be split in a different way.
I appreciate that, Kim, and it's great, healthy conversation. I just want to comment on the one thing about the budget. I see it differently. And from what I've seen, it does come up quick in the beginning of the year, especially if you're a new board member, you join. And by March, we're sending a not to exceed budget to the Monmouth County, to the county. And it comes up very quick. And it's very tough as a new board member, but then you grasp it. And contingent on how much energy you want to put into this, I know that didn't stop for me once the budget. We continued the conversations, asking the questions. This is not a one-year thing with the budget. This is a 3 to 5 year thing, things that we need to discuss this year that are going to affect us. So we can't just look at this as an annual thing. In regard to the teacher's contract, to me, and we've spoken about this, it's going to be discussed on leadership's calls. It's going to be very difficult to have any conversations and not be able to talk to the vice president. I see that as a challenge and a hurdle. And I do think we would make a great team in the right year. I'm not opposed to you being a leader during a teacher's contract. I think that we are not doing the best for our community to have somebody who's a member of the NJEA who we're going to be negotiating with that could make us very vulnerable. And I just think that's more important. That trumps everything else that we spoke about. And you could still add all that value as a board member, especially with the curriculum. So those are my thoughts.
I have something to say. When I was on negotiations the first year, neither the president nor the vice president was a part of the negotiations team. The negotiation team was picked by people that, by the board, and they did a decent job. And so that's one thing to say. It doesn't have to be the leadership that's sitting. Leadership can give an input. And while we were talking in the last 3 years again, but even when we talk about cutting teachers' contracts or other, the duties and other little intricacies, I found that Kim had the most valuable ideas in terms of saving or altering things for which benefits everybody. I don't need to point each things out, but I found that that's what happened. Even in terms of budget and saving cost, Kim had the most valuable idea in terms of the bus, saved about 600,000 in terms of combining the 2 bus schedules. And I'm not saying that others are not. That's partly because she has that wealth of knowledge and information. That's where it comes from. Not that, not that she's, we're all as good as her and I'm as good as her, but her wealth of knowledge that quickly makes her find these areas which others have not been able to. That's why I think, on the contrary, she will be even better as a vice president during negotiations year.
I appreciate you sharing those thoughts.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Chris, that over the years sitting here, we've had some other people that have worked in schools, had to recuse themselves during negotiations. And I've been on 3 contracts. I've been on 3 negotiations. And most times the president and vice president were not on the negotiations committee for various reasons. One, your docket will be pretty full. You'll be signing a lot of things. You'll be doing a lot of other meetings. And it just also gives more people to see it, because you, as you saw this year as vice president, you'll be in conversation with Scott, multiple times a week, right? Multiple times a month. So, but I haven't seen of the times when we had other people that had to recuse themselves because they were teachers, haven't seen that did not have a negative impact on any negotiations that I've been involved in the last decade.
Pete, I appreciate you sharing that.
Thanks.
I just recall after the election, you were the first person I reached out to because of your wealth and knowledge and history on the board, and started discussing what's ahead of us. And that was the negotiations team. And I'd asked you for your suggestion and advice, and you said, absolutely, the president and vice president should be on that negotiations team. So that's the conversation we had.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I heard you wrong.
Then you must have heard me wrong,
I heard you
because
wrong.
I've been on this board for a bunch of years. Most times, Joe Hammer, Vicky Flynn, myself, we were not on during those different years. We're not on. Anna Vanderwoody, we're not on the negotiations committee. You
Okay.
can be. There's just like Anthony was saying before. There's no bylaws that says you can't. But the point was, a lot of times going, okay, hey, the VP and president are very much involved. Let's try to get other folks. Let's get Ray Kim. Let's get Jeff, whoever. Just because then it's just exposed to more people hearing it, because obviously you can only have 4 in a subcommittee. But obviously we can,
We'll get everybody
out,
involved.
exactly.
Everybody needs to be involved. And
In some
I
way, yep.
appreciate if everybody does get involved. I'm the first one to hope that everybody wants to be active. We need everybody. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to
Close the discussion.
All right, we're going to close the discussion. You'll be handling roll call?
Yep. Mr. Buckley,
I'm going to vote for Ms. Lepresti.
Dr. Calor,
Kim Tassilo.
Mr. Damari,
Board Member LaPresti?
Mr. Kim,
Kimberly Tosillo.
Mr. Lepecci,
Allison LaPresti.
Mrs. Lepresti,
Allison.
Mr. Mann,
Board Member LaPresti.
Mr. Reddy,
Kim Tassilo.
and Mrs. DeSillo.
Kimberly.
So we have 4 votes for Ms. DeSillo and 5 votes for Mrs. Lepresti.
Congrats.
Thank you, everybody, for placing your trust in me. Anthony, first, thank you for the nomination. Truly appreciate it. It's an honor to step into this role. We're going to unite and continue to do the good work that we do as a team. That's what this is about. I'm committed to working collaboratively with this board, our educators, staff, administrators, students.
Is it me?
It was a computer.
There we go. I think, yeah, we're good. I'm committed to working with collaboratively with this board, our educators, staff, administrators, students, the township committee, and the larger community to ensure that our schools continue to thrive. Education is the foundation of our community, and I'm excited to continue to work on things that prioritize academic excellence, fiscal responsibility, innovation, and safety in our district. We face several important financial challenges in the coming year, and I will continue to collaborate with the team and key stakeholders to address them. Our goal is to ensure the district remains financially stable, maintains a sustainable budget, and continues to provide our students with an incredible educational experience. Last but certainly not least, thank you to my family for supporting me, Lenny, Olivia, and Zach. This wouldn't be possible without your support. I love you all very much. Thank you again for this opportunity. I will work tirelessly for the success of our schools and the well-being of our students.
Okay, thank you. As we move forward in our reorganization meeting, I'd like to take a moment to officially welcome the 2025 Homedale Township Board of Education. This dedicated team will guide us through the coming year as we continue to strive for excellence in serving our students, staff, and community. With the appointment of our new board and the election of our president and vice president, we're now ready to begin business of this board. Before we proceed with our agenda, we would like to take a moment to pause for a moment of reflection and remembrance. Homedale Township is deeply mourning the loss of our beloved community member, William Billy DeMayo, who tragically lost his life in the New Orleans terror attack. Billy began his journey at Homedale High School as a freshman in 2013 and graduated with the class of 2017. From the very beginning, he left an unforgettable mark on our community, touching the lives of everyone he encountered. A talented and dedicated lacrosse player, during his time as a student, Billy later returned to give back to the program, volunteering as a mentor and inspiring the next generation of Homedale athletes. Billy truly embodied the spirit of a Homedale Hornet. His life and the countless ways he enriched the Homedale schools, the Homedale community, the Chestnut Hill College, and his professional circles stand as a testament to his extraordinary character and legacy. On behalf of the Homedale Township Board of Education and our school district community, we extend our heartfelt condolences to the DeMayo family, to Billy's friends, and to all the lives that he's touched. Please stand and let's come together to honor William Billy DeMayo with a moment of silence. Thank you for joining in this moment of silence for Billy DeMayo and his profound impact on our community. As we begin the work of this board for 2025, I'd like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude to the individuals who make the Homedale Township School District such an exceptional place. A heartfelt thank you to our dedicated administrators, teachers, and staff for an outstanding 2024. Your hard work and commitment continue to create an environment where our students and community thrive. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and they are truly appreciated. Thank you to the Homedale Township Police Department for ensuring the safety of our students and staff and for assisting with our school traffic. Your partnership is invaluable. Thank you to the Homedale Township Committee. Thank you for being here tonight, Mayor Foster, for fostering open communication with the Board of Education, and for your support in covering the cost of our security officers. Your collaboration helps ensure the safety of our students and staff. Thank you to our superintendent, Dr. Scott Cascone, who joined the district during the challenging post-COVID period and has now been with us for 3 years. Your leadership has brought much needed stability and accountability during this time. We look forward to continuing our positive working relationship with you as we move forward. And a big special thank you to all of our Homedale students. We are proud of you, and we are here to support you on your educational journey, working hard to create the best possible experience for you all. Since joining the board, I've gained an even greater appreciation for the Homedale Township School District. We are proud to be the top public school district in Monmouth County and one of the best in the state. I'd like to highlight some of the positive accomplishments for our school district in the last couple of years. Safety. Safety is paramount. The district had Stonegate Associates, a recognized leader providing security services, conduct a full assessment on our district back in 2023 and reported that Homedale has one of the most secure schools they've seen compared to hundreds of others that they've assessed. The district is completing the development of an updated school security manual. The district's behavior threat assessment team under the leadership of Dr. Lamoglia and school district security specialist, Mr. Papalia, have garnered state and national recognition for the work they have done in developing and implementing behavioral threat assessment protocols and training. The district has invested in the anonymous reporting app, Stop It, and LineWise monitoring software, both of which have been valuable in the district's effort to create a safe and secure environment for our students, staff, and families. Rankings. Homedale High School's rankings in the U.S. News and World Report for New Jersey high schools continues to rise steadily. Back in 2019, the school was ranked 106 out of over 400 plus high schools in the state. Following the disruption caused by COVID in 2020, when rankings were not reported, Homedale stood out as one of the first, if not the very first, public school district in New Jersey to reopen. Since then, our rankings have seen remarkable improvement, climbing to 74th in 2021, 68th in 2022, and achieving 54th place last year. This upward trajectory highlights our commitment to academic excellence and resilience as a district. Village, Indian Hill, and SATS are consistently ranked as top elementary and middle schools in New Jersey. School culture, spearheaded by Assistant Superintendent Mr. Howard, there has been a hyper focus on creating the safest and most effective learning environment for all students, constantly promoting kindness and respect. We've made investments in positive behavioral interventions and supports, including staff training, program materials, and data management systems and software tools. Mr. Howard has consistently provided the community with annual presentations of self-assessments and year-end summaries. These presentations have enabled the district to analyze data and identify key facts and statistics related to bullying, such as the locations of the incidents, the months they occur, and the types of offenses. This data-driven approach allows us to gain deeper insights and take proactive steps towards improving our efforts to address and prevent bullying. The harassment, intimidation, and bullying cases are down 9% year over year over the past 2 school seasons. I would like to bring awareness to some key leadership hires that were made. Director of Special Services, Dr. Lamoglia, the high school principal, Dr. Herritz, the village principal, Mrs. Barrett, the SATS assistant principal and supervisor of world language in 7 through 12, Dr. Ganakis, the K through 12 supervisor of mathematics and business, Ms. Lotter, the supervisor of counseling services, K through 12, Mrs. Rizzatello, the business administrator, welcome to the team, Debbie Deborah Donnelly, our board attorney, Kyle Trent, who served admirably in his first year. And I'd like to acknowledge, which we appreciate greatly, and I'd like to acknowledge a promotion of our Director of Technology, Mr. Lelevit. Thank you all for the positive impact that you have had on our students in the district. Our ongoing 5-year strategic plan, back in 2023, we announced the launch of our 5-year strategic plan. This carefully crafted roadmap is designed to take our district to new heights, fostering a brighter future for our students, educators, and the entire Homedale community. Academic excellence during the 23-24 school year. 410 students in grades 9 through 12 were enrolled in 28 different AP courses, almost an 18% increase from the prior year. The AP students with scores 3+ has gone from 180 in 2021 to now 348 students in 24. That's significant strides in academic excellence. Homedale High School recently was awarded the silver recognition for the AP School Honor Roll, which recognizes schools whose AP programs are delivering results for students while broadening access. Schools earn this recognition annually based on the criteria that reflect a commitment to increasing college-going culture, providing opportunities for students to earn college credit, and maximizing college readiness. The district, we've seen, has continued to identify and assess ways to increase our ELA and math scores and continue to expand cutting-edge programs and courses, including increasing exponentially our dual enrollment program, which is offering high school students an opportunity to earn college credits here in Homedale. These are just some of the highlights over the last couple of years, and we'll continue to work together to create more. Over this time, we've faced some difficult financial challenges. And in 2025, as a board, we're going to have some difficult decisions to make. The transportation expenses have become increasingly difficult to manage. In 2022, our expense spiked by 20.9%, followed by a staggering 54% increase in 2023. While 2024 saw a slight decrease of 2.9% from the prior year, these expenses remain significantly elevated. What once cost the district between 2.2 and 2.8 million annually has now surged to over 5 million annually to provide transportation for our students. Compounding the issue are ongoing industry challenges such as shortage of bus drivers, which have further strained resources. This sharp increase in transportation costs places a significant burden on the district's budget and underscores the need for discussions around the courtesy busing program, which we've been communicating to the community throughout last year. This program costs us about $600,000 to $800,000 annually. The overview for courtesy busing is if you're in K through 8 school grades and you're going to any of the schools for those grades and you live within 2 miles of the school, you're affected. If you are in 9th through 12th grade and you live 2.5 miles from the high school, you're affected. And under state guidelines, if you live within these schools, it's the parents' responsibility to provide transportation. Homedale, however, has historically offered courtesy busing to these families, which is not common practice across all New Jersey districts. It approximately affects 750 students. As we navigate these financial challenges, it's essential to evaluate how to best balance the district's budget while continuing to support our students and families. And we also have our Homedale Township Education Association teachers contract. The HTEA, our local teachers union, operates as a branch of the New Jersey Education Association. The most recent contract agreement began on July 1st, 2021, and is set to expire on June 30th of this year. When the agreement was established, we were navigating extraordinary times that required extraordinary measures. We deeply respect and admire our teachers and recognize the critical role that they play in our schools and community. Moving forward, we must work collaboratively to create a new agreement that is mutually beneficial for both our teachers and Homedale taxpayers. The board and administration will be working diligently on these two top priorities. We'll continue to be fully transparent and keep our community updated. Thank you for listening to the updates, and please let me know if any board members would like to share anything at this time. Okay, everybody wants to get home. All right, action items. We'll be proceeding. Thank you to the audience for being here and listening to that. Action items, Public Meetings Act, establish meeting date, time and place. Resolve that the board pursuant to Open Public Meetings Act does hereby proclaim the regular monthly public meetings of the Board of Education will be held at Homedale High School, 36 Crawfords Corner Road, Homedale, New Jersey, 07733, at 6 p.m. as set forth below unless indicated otherwise. Be it further resolved that the purpose of the regular business meetings shall be the normal conduct of business of the Board of Education and any other items brought to the board's attention by the board members, board attorney, superintendent, business administrator, and that action may be taken on all such items. And that be it further resolved that the Board of Education does hereby designate the Asbury Park Press and the Star Ledger as official newspapers to receive notice of meetings. And be it further resolved, the notices of meetings of the Board of Education will be posted in the Homedale Township Board of Education Administration Office and posted on the district website. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education reserves the right to adjourn or recess a meeting at any time to discuss such matters that may be discussed in closed session. Be it further resolved that in order to conduct its meetings properly and efficiently, the board shall require the following procedures pertaining to public participation at board meetings. There are two opportunities for the public to speak. The first is in the beginning of the meeting for agenda items only, and the second is at the end of the meeting for other items. Any individual desiring to speak shall give his or her name, address, and group, if any, that is represented. The presentation will be as brief as possible, but no more than 3 minutes per individual. The board vests in its president or other presiding officer authority to terminate the remarks of any individual he or she deems that it's the best interest of those present to do so. Okay. All right. Be it further resolved that the board secretary is authorized and directed to advertise and announce the annual schedule of such meetings as more particularly set forth below in the manner described by the Open Public Meetings Act. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education will meet on the following dates as set forth in the agenda. So we're going to take a quick break. We do have proposed meeting schedule that we're going to discuss, but I want to provide Mayor Foster an opportunity to come speak. Thank you.
He has to run to a meeting, so he wanted to get a few words in.
Yeah, sorry about that. We have a zoning board meeting starting at 7. First off, Ray, congratulations on winning. Welcome to the board. Looking forward to seeing what you do. Sarika and Kim, congratulations on your reappointment. Chris, congratulations on the presidency. Al, same to you. I pretty much know you all on the board, and I thank you very much, first and foremost, for your service. Not an easy role at all, but a critical one here in town. Almost 3,000 kids count on you guys to deliver a good quality product, and we're all looking forward to that. So I wasn't able to make the December meeting. Unfortunately, I wanted to thank Terrence Wall for his service for all those years. Terrence and I sat together on the board for a couple of years, pretty much next to each other, so I got to know him fairly well, extremely well sometimes. Although we may not have agreed on everything all the time, I believe Terrence was doing what he always thought was right for the school kids and our kids, and that's what I implore all of you guys to do as well. So I thank him for that service. And then lastly, I just want to mention, you mentioned Mr. Mike Patrizzo, who served here for over 20 years. When we first got to town 13 years ago, I came down pretty much every day in the beginning of the school year when they have the bus service. And you come down as a parent and you get to greet the kids and watch them, help them come off the bus, which is really cool. My wife was home with our newborn at the time. And there was always one person impeccably dressed, smiling, just running around like nonstop, just trying to make sure that every kid that got off that bus saw a smiling face year after year after year. And that was Mike Patrizzo. And he welcomed me to the board. He sat down with me hour after hour, poured through the budget, poured through anything you wanted to talk about. And the guy was fantastic, outstanding. And I want to thank you, Mike. And I'm sorry I wasn't here for that last meeting, but I want to say thank you for him, especially for just the guidance and the tutelage he provided me. Thank you all. And I'm sorry I have to run, but thank you very much for your service to our town.
Thank you.
Mayor Foster, thank you for your service to our town as well. We appreciate you being here and providing, letting us know those words. Thanks. We'll talk soon. See that again?
So Chris, do we have a typo here, 6 o'clock? Or do we mean 7 o'clock business? Because, you know, if we're going to stay at 6, that would be the first change in the last 20 years that has moved to 6. And then most likely, if you want more people in the audience, 6 o'clock to get here. That means we're gonna have executive at 5. A lot of us do work. I would absolutely not agree with 6.
No,
as
but
it
six
stands.
is and then we go into exec session like. we've been
Yeah, but
doing.
it should read 7. or I think-
Agreed.
Yeah.
Six is
okay.
correct because you're actually opening up your meeting.
Right, we
and then
open, right.
voting. So
Okay,
6
just wanna
o'clock,
make sure
Make sure the public is aware. We can advertise that although we're
good,
starting the
good.
meeting at 6, the
Right.
public portion
Good,
will
good,
then
good.
begin.
I
at
just want to
7
make sure.
o'clock.
Thank you.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I'm with you
Good,
on
good,
that,
good. Yeah.
Pete, too, because Dr. Cascone, we had expressed that earlier, not to confuse the public, that the public portion of the meeting always starts at 7. From 6 to 7, there's an executive session where the board and the administration meet and discuss personal and confidential issues. So I'm glad Pete brought that up. Thank you. All right, so
There's no committee of the whole for the month of June.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So that's a point for consideration for the board. I'm sorry, are we good to discuss?
yes,
No, that's okay. The week preceding the regular meeting is the 19th, is June 19th. I didn't want to be presumptuous that the board would want to hold a public meeting on a federal holiday. If we were not to hold a public meeting on that federal holiday, then we would have to do the committee the whole 2 weeks prior to the public meeting, which, speaking from the administration's perspective, is challenging, in terms of producing agenda 2 weeks prior. Certainly, there will be many additions to that agenda in the interim. So, but if the board is interested in meeting on a federal holiday, we could certainly insert a committee of the whole on the 19th.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure
Yes.
that it wasn't a typo, that it was.
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
Purposefully done.
That's right. And I did consult with Mr. Tren as to whether it was permissible to not have a committee of the whole. He did indicate that it was. And that meeting tends to be fairly light. It's post end of the school year. So that was the rationale there.
So that means, Scott, we're probably gonna have May 28th. I don't know how close, that's probably after Memorial Day? Or is that the Wednesday before? Usually that last meeting, we have the awards nights and all that
Exactly.
stuff. So is that gonna be too early
No,
for the schools and
no,
stuff? Okay.
yeah, that's a great question, Pete.
Yeah.
And yes, we did look at that and we'll be prepared to do the awards meeting on the 28th.
Okay.
And it's my birthday, so selfishly, I'm really
We'll bring
excited
a
to
cake
spend it
and
here.
cookies. Let's go.
order the cake. Okay, thank you, Kim, for bringing that up. Move to adopt action item number 1. Open Public Meetings Act, establish meeting date, time, and place.
Move.
Motion?
Yeah.
Second?
Open the discussion. So I want to discuss, I've gotten some feedback too, to entertain, there's some conflicts in the January meetings. I know for me, on the first one, there might be, is it possible that the January meetings could be moved to Thursday, both the committee of the whole and the regular business meeting? Does anybody have any feedback on that?
I
So that
would
would be,
welcome it. I
No
have a
objection here.
conflict on the 29th.
you have a conflict.
Yeah, if I don't know if I'll be on a plane or not, or be able to go virtually, but if
So
it's
if we
not
move-
a big deal to anybody else, that would be great. If not, I get it. It's not a problem.
I have a conflict if we move it to the 3rd. I'll be on a plane to Phoenix for a conference.
I have a conflict on Thursdays. I work, so.
Okay,
Looks like Allison's gavel for if we to keep it as is. I'm fine either way. Doesn't matter.
okay. All right, we'll make it work. Let's stick to what it is. All right. Motion?
Move.
Second.
First motion was Dr. Clark? You did, I'm sorry. Who was the second?
I lost the,
Roll call. Mr. Buckley,
yes.
Dr. Clark, Mr. Damari,
Yes.
Mr. Kim,
Yes.
Mr. Lebechi,
Yes.
Mrs. LaPresti?
Yes.
Mr. Mann,
Yes.
Mr. Reddy,
Yes.
Mrs. DeSillo.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. All right, the calendar is official and that'll be posted, Dr. Cascone?
Yes, sir, tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Is there any old business? Okay, old business closed. Any new business?
I have something to bring
Sure.
up. So when we have our exit session, we are supposed to ask the public if they have something to say, and because we're opening it at 6 o'clock. And then, we do this here and then we go inside. So that's how we did it for the last year or so. Prior to that, we didn't do it that way. I mean, any which way is okay. I guess you're following rules this way. But it's always nice to be efficient because we're coming here on our time. So it's good to save our time. If it's all the same for the rules, so why not save 5 minutes of our time? So I talked to Kyle as well. And he said, instead of sitting here at 6 and going through this whole motion and then going inside, where 99.9% of the time nobody is there to speak, we could start our meeting inside and officially say if somebody does have something to say, then they will be coming there to speak. And on the rare occasion, we can talk to them before we start our exec session. It's almost never happened. So if we just say that they're able to come there if they have something to say, then we can sit there. That's how we did the first couple of years. So we can just sit in there and start our exec session and save ourselves a few minutes. Why not?
I'm not opposed to that. I actually agree with what you just said, and Kyle saying that we can do that. Does anybody else have
Yeah,
any
Sarika,
issues?
I would agree with you for sure. For
Yeah.
years, we did not do it. I think we did it more as a, I guess more, where's the Rogers Order book? I'm sure it's on here somewhere. But we didn't, for years we didn't. And you're right. By the time we get there at 6:15, almost 6:20, we're a third of the hour that we need to talk about personnel and things that can't be discussed in public. And, we shortchange ourselves a little bit. So I think that's a good move.
So basically just the public portion of the meeting would start in the conference room. You would do the same Open Public Meetings Act statement. If any member of the public wanted to view that reading of that statement, it's not very exciting, but they would be able to come back there to do it. And then we would ask them to leave once. the
So
meeting-
we'll just read that in the executive session itself.
I wouldn't call it the executive session. We'd read it in
Okay,
the executive
got
session
it,
room, but.
got it,
but
okay.
yes.
That sounds good. Great recommendation. Yeah. That's efficiency. We're off to a great start, Dr. Kalora. Thank you very much.
And one more item for efficiency again is that we do have a time limit for public who has to speak. And I recommend that we have the same limit for us as well. I've said this before, but our attention spans are limited. We can all focus for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and whatever has to be said could be said, if we plan it well, so that the other person and all the other people can absorb it. The longer we go, the less we're able to pay attention. So if it behooves the speaker to plan it well so that it can be said concisely, it'll save us time and it'll be more efficient in terms of us grasping what people are saying. Otherwise, we sort of go off. So I think I would like to have not an official time limit. I'd like us all to stick to a certain time limit. So, so it makes it better for us.
I'm with you on the time management, definitely. Anything else from the board?
I have something to
Sure.
say that when board leadership thinks about committees and the formation of any committees, this past year, it was neither here nor there, but myself, Pete Reddy, and Dr. Kalor, who were after Terrence, we were the 3 most established board members, were sidelined in all committees. And for whatever reason, it doesn't matter at this point, but I would just, we're here, we have institutional knowledge, and I would just like that to be utilized rather than dismissed, as I personally felt last year.
You will absolutely not be dismissed. I had already made plans. If things worked out where I was president, I was going to reach out to everybody on the board to go over the committees and see what people's feedbacks are and where their passion is for the 2025 year. And we'll take all that feedback in and make the appropriate designations. So definitely agree with you there. Thank you for mentioning that. Anything else? Okay. Well, we have questions or comments from the public. Does anybody in the public have anything that they want to say tonight? All right, Mr. Purcell, come on up.
Rob Purcell, 18 Red Coach Lane. I just want to congratulate you, Chris and Allison. Thank you. And I've come to know you guys like friends now. It's been a long time, three long years, right, Chris? And I got to know each and every one of you and your families. And I really appreciate what you're doing for the children here in the schools. And my whole heart backs the board 100%. So keep up the good work. And anytime I can help you guys out, just give me a call.
Thanks, Ralph.
I appreciate that, Ralph, and I appreciate your energy. Mr. Purcell had his kids at the Homedale schools, and he's got a love for the town. So we appreciate that. Thank you for those kind words. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Okay, moving on. Resolution for executive session. We do need to go into a short executive session tonight. Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, a public body to go into a closed sessions to discuss certain matters. And whereas the Board of Education has determined that it is necessary to go into a closed session to discuss matters permitted by law. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education that it shall adjourn into closed session at this time to discuss the following subject matters without the presence of the public in accordance with matters falling within the attorney-client privilege. So for anybody waiting, it should be a short meeting, but motion.
Motion.
Second.
Everybody in favor? Aye. All right, off to executive session. Thank you, everybody, for attending. We look forward to working hard for the community and the students this year. Thank you. We're going to do a formal adjournment of this meeting. Motion?
Move.
Second.
Can I get all eyes with your hands raised?
Aye.
Thank you and
Ayes.
have a great night.